Did you like this movie at all? Because I figured, this is real country-ish.
Uh, it, it was okay.
It's very Texas,
Yeah,
Southern country.
very hee haw.
I did like that one song though, "God's Gonna Get You." They played it a couple times, and I was like, I kind of like that song.
Yeah. I mean, it's no Hollywood Nights, but it'll do.
Oh no, no, no! It's not as rude as the Hollywood Nights, but it's in the same
Same.
American Graffiti, Hollywood Nights,
Yeah. Porky's.
Porky's. It's
Uh,
tamer,
yeah. Yeah. But
but and well, this movie we're talking about is from 1976 called Drive-In. I just happened upon it on YouTube, and I said, "Oh, a movie about a drive-in? Okay."
yeah.
I started watching it, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I'll keep watching it." And I watched it all the way to the end, and I go, "Oh, that's likable." I
Yeah, it
don't
is.
I don't recognize too many of the actors, but
The only one I recognized was Trey Wilson. He was the smarter of the two thieves,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and Ashley Cox. And I had to dig back into my memory to find out she was a Playboy
She was.
playmate. Yeah.
Who's Ashley Cox? Is she the one in that didn't want to marry the guy in the
Yeah.
truck?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know she was a Playboy playmate. I gotta check her out now.
Yeah. As soon as I logged on to check her out, I'm like, oh yeah, I kind of face now. Which sounds funny looking at a Playboy playmate, but
Yeah, well, you always want to look and see just in case, Go, hey, let's see what you look like, you know,
it's
in your
true.
birthday suit. Why not? I mean, what the heck,
Yeah.
Uh, the main. Okay, hold on for a second, because I'm going to actually look these people up, but my phone's like my phone. My internet's kind of like weirding out or whatever. Hold on. Let me go to this movie. Drive-In, 1976. The redheaded guy. He's been in tons of TV shows and movies.
And he gained a lot of weight, cut his hair short, then started to go bald. Yeah.
After all that hair
Yeah.
that he had in this movie.
Yeah. Well, I was the same way, man. I used to have a big, thick head of hair, and then
Me too. And I got like, it's
I
all
hit
gone.
this little landing, or this little platform or clearing started, and next thing everything's thinning out.
Okay, here's really interesting. The main woman, the one who played
Yeah,
Chloe, Lisa Lemole. Her name now is Lisa Oz.
I know. I saw that. She's
Did you
married
see who she's married to?
Dr. Oz.
That's weird. Okay.
And she's now like I think she's a motivational speaker, or she's a health nut speaker or something.
Oh, is she? Oh, okay. All right. Because I was like,
And she
what
looks
happened to
so much.
her? She
She,
what?
she looks so much different when you click on her Wikipedia page. It doesn't
Yeah, yeah.
person.
I was like shocked. I was like, her name is Lisa Oz. I go, huh? Is she married Frank Oz from? No, it's Dr. Oz. I'm like, oh, a long time ago too. I'm like, oh, okay,
Yeah,
interesting. She did a few more things, but
yeah.
not a whole lot.
The guy, the couple the guy asked the girl to marry him.
Yeah.
That guy, he's married to Ruth Buzzy.
Are you kidding me? Really?
Yeah, and they got married in
Wow.
'78, and they're still married. And it's like,
Well, good for them.
yeah, but you wouldn't picture those two together. But hey,
No, they look kind of like sep-
opposite.
opposites. But I guess opposites attract, right?
Yes,
I
no,
guess.
I guess so.
There's another movie that I saw one time, but I think it's a little racier than this. It's called Swap Meet, and it was also set at a drive-in. It's around the same. It's 70s, but it
Right,
wasn't as I don't know what the right word is. This movie was pretty tame. It wasn't as it was just racier, I guess is the way. It was more adult. I mean, this movie insinuated a lot of things that it didn't
right,
go.
right.
Like the guy's brother, he was like a 12-year-old, but he was a real pervert. And Orville, the redheaded guy, he was like a real prude kind of.
No kidding. Yeah, it was weird.
I mean, the girl was like all over him. He's like, wait, I don't know because, you may not be the right type for me. And I'm like,
Don't know you, and
I don't know you. And,
I
I
guess
was
that's
like,
what it's like in some southern towns. You're either a real horn dog or you're. Um,
he didn't
one,
seem like he was a Bible belter, but,
yeah,
his brother was a young sleaze. I'm sure his brother would probably turned into like, whatever, Playboy guy. Cause he was a real operator, that kid.
yeah,
But I mean, that drive-in that we have here where
yeah.
I live, it's real similar to that drive-in in the movie. That's why I kept watching it because it has a swing and everything, and
Yeah.
it's kind of like a feel. Even though that field looked a little better and the place looked a little, but it's got the snack bar in the middle,
Hmm.
old building, and the whole 9 yards or whatever. But
It's similar to a lot of the drive-ins up that were up here, except the snack bars were usually off to the left side, not in the center. But same thing, swings for the kids. Uh, you know, you know,
I think the one here, the projection is in the snack bar. It's like the snack bar has like a back room,
right.
and now it's not. Now they don't use film; they use
Uh,
DVDs or Blu-rays, or so it's just like a little projection room, I guess. In the, it looks like it's in the. From what I remember, it looks like it's in the snack bar behind the counter and probably next to the bathroom. So whatever, whatever works. I don't know, but yeah, but drive-ins did become flea markets, or what they called them back then was swap meets.
hmm.
So I guess But at
Well,
any rate, yeah, this movie's from '76, filmed in Texas. Oh, the black doctor in this movie,
yeah.
he was in horror movies. He was in this one movie called Don't Look in the Basement.
Oh, really?
Bill McGee's his name. Yeah, he's playing a comedic role in this movie, but in that Don't Look in the Basement, he was like a mental patient, and he did a lot of damage in that movie. We'll just leave it at that. But I was surprised when I saw him at the end. I didn't recognize him. I go, Bill McGee. Wait a minute, wasn't he in Don't Look in the Basement? Huh. Okay. He did a few movies. This is all Texas people for the most part.
Yeah.
I don't know about the actors, but possibly. And the one guy who played Enoch, the gang guy, the guy with
The
the
van.
leader of the gang,
Yeah.
he reminds me, not exactly. He reminds me of like oh, he reminds me of a character that Jeff Spicoli in a way. Not in his attitude, because Jeff Spicoli was a stoner, but the way he looked
Yeah.
reminded me a little of Jeff Spicoli from you know uh,
Ridgemont High.
Ridgemont High. Yeah, the
He
Sean
looked
Penn guy.
familiar. I don't know if
He
he.
did look familiar, but I couldn't find much for him.
Yeah. So I mean, maybe he looks like. Because in a way, he reminded me of Bobby Darin.
Yeah, with longer hair.
There and somebody else. I can't remember. But that you get that sometimes, an actor who kind of looks like a couple of other people's, and you're like, do I know that guy from something? You're trying to place him.
Did I see him in some movie
Yeah,
or?
always sure what or who.
Yeah, I didn't realize that the one of the robbers, the smarter one, was in that movie that I think we did a long time ago called Vampire Hookers. He played one of the sailors that landed in the Philippines and got killed, I guess, pretty early. So yeah, that guy Trey Wilson, right? Was his name
Yeah,
Trey Wilson?
yeah, he was in a lot of. He was another bit player, and all over television, and
I mean, this does feel like a Corman movie, but it's not.
yeah,
A
yeah.
Corman
Lee was a real monster.
Corman
Well,
movie would have had some sleazier aspects to it.
didn't I think Ron Howard's first film for Corman was
Eat My Dust.
Eat My Dust? Yeah, so it did have that because Corman would produce these kind of films. Hey, anything that
I
made
mean,
him
I
look.
wouldn't call this film exploitation, but there is a category called exploitation, which is like those Smokey and the Bandit things, maybe. But even before, we did a kind of a exploitation we called Gator Bait a while ago about the girls that lived in the swamp and people came and they shot people, and yeah, it's kind of like the same thing, exploitation or whatever.
Yeah,
But
that in the mid to late '70s, even early '80s, the South was popular. So you had a lot of Southern rock bands.
oh well, remember Deliverance was a big movie back
Yeah,
then.
I saw that in high school. You had to watch it for English class.
I'm
Oof,
surprised they let you guys watch that. I watched it in the theater.
oof. It
Well,
was
you
a
know,
time.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It was a different time back then in schools and everywhere.
Well,
So
back then there was a. I don't know what the right word is. I don't know what the right word is xenophobia, but there was a in movies and some kind of not in this movie, but in other movies. Well, Deliverance would be one, and there was other ones like that. There was almost kind of something about people going down to the South and getting like a bunch of crazy rednecks killing people, and
yeah,
there was a lot of TV movies about that. Don't ask me to tell you which ones because I didn't really write it
yeah,
down. But since we talked about it, there was some kind of whoa, don't go to the South because if you go in the wrong place, you can you'd end up like you know
well,
whatever. But
Chainsaw Massacres is a perfect
yeah, there you go.
point.
Yeah, there you go. But that was all set in Texas. That was in Texas too. But I don't think those were kids from up north going south. But yeah, that's another one about like crazy people living in the South. But I think Deliverance popularized
Yeah,
that genre.
yeah. As I'm thinking about it, they're all. I get sort of vague images of movies I've seen. Where, yeah, they take place in the South. There's a lot of people with no teeth, and they all act weird. And
And they hate Northerners,
yeah,
and they're like Northerners are scared, and they're like, you look pretty good in those. You look pretty good. Good, look good, boy. That kind of stuff or whatever. But yeah, there was a lot of TV movies like that.
yeah,
Where they come down south and they get in trouble.
yeah.
I mean it could be anywhere, and I mean there could also go some movies like the Out of Towners where the people go up to New
All right.
York and they you know
Yeah, and then you have some movies like you're going out west, so if you're in the desert, there's like a family that of cannibals, or if you go up in the Rockies,
yeah the hills have eyes,
yeah,
yeah.
eyes and stuff. Yeah, so it's like the city people are frightened of anything rural,
And the
and
rural people kind of fear the city people,
yeah,
in a way. And then there's also fear of trucks with Duel. Steven
yeah,
Spielberg did too. I mean, he did Fear of Trucks, and believe me, we almost got run over, but we almost got run off the road by trucks a couple of times on the highway. So Fear of Trucks is not.
yeah. I remember I was driving home from work. I used to work a late shift, and I was driving home, and I'm alone on the highway, and suddenly I see these two trucks barreling down. They're in both lanes, and neither one was given or moving. So I literally had to pull off onto the shoulder just to let them pass because I don't think they were going to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then a few years after Duel, there was Fear of Water with sharks, but that's
Yes.
also been dealt with in this
Yes.
movie. Now, what scene in this movie? Do you know what scene in this movie really freaked me out?
Yeah.
It was during the disaster movie.
Yeah.
Did you notice what happened to the airplane?
Oh yeah. It flew into the giant glass building. I'm like, holy crap!
It was like 9/11, man.
Predicting 9/11. Ooh.
And I watched it on YouTube on 9/12. So I was like, oh, let's just watch this. And I'm like, and obviously it's a toy plane, but you're like, wow, it goes into the building just like,
Just
yeah,
like
it was very strange. But it was basically a movie within a movie. It was like a spoof of a disaster movie.
yeah.
So it had that scene, and it had a Jaws scene, and it had a
Yeah.
Towering Inferno scene in it. It was kind of a goofy.
Every cliche in every
Yes,
disaster movie they would show on the screen, and sometimes it looked more interesting than what was going on in
in a way, yeah, in a way, yeah.
the hijinks.
'Cause this movie really, the first third of the movie is just introducing the characters,
Right.
but in the last hour, it's all just in a drive-in in one night. I mean, obviously they filmed it over a few nights, but it's like you meet all these characters that intermingle and blah blah blah. And but I do remember, like, I mean, I never skated, but I remember they still have roller rinks here. which is unbelievable to me. I thought that was gone.
Yeah, we have one or two here as well. Um, but yeah, I mean, they were a lot more popular than they used to be.
And there's still bowling alleys here, so it's not all gone away, but a lot of it is, and there's still a drive-in. So there's still within the realm of reality. It's not all nostalgic, but it's mostly nostalgic. The cars, that freaking that SS that he had, that yellow Chevrolet with the pipes on the side, that was a great car. It's too bad he didn't. I was waiting for him to do like a race scene or something. There was a scene where he kind of like hits the guy's van, but it wasn't really much of a race scene or whatever. And
More than anything else, and they get the guys chasing them get stuck behind a chicken truck.
yeah, yeah, there you go. Yeah, typical. And then the van with the carpeted walls and a
Water.
water bed or whatever. That's pure 70s or whatever. So anyway, this movie starts out. I guess it kind of starts out with the two robbers talking about how they want to rob the drive-in. They're checking out the owner and seeing what
Yeah,
time.
area watching him and
They're
what he does.
casing the joint, as they
Yeah,
say in the robber business
tell
or
right
what.
away they're pulling guys because one they're looking. One guy's looking through scope from a scope that he took off a rifle and then gives it to the other guy to look, and the other guy's holding it backwards. And oh, he looks really small.
Yeah, they're goofballs. Yeah. Even the
Yeah,
even the kid that tells them later on in the movie what a bunch of goofballs they are or whatever, but and then it turns out that one of the guys that shows up that wants to get married to Ashley Cox shows up and they sell him like a wedding ring.
yeah, which they obviously stole.
Stole, yeah, yeah, they stole him, and they they sell him a ring because he wants to propose to
His girlfriend.
his
The
girlfriend that night, who's kind of turns out to be kind of reluctant
Yeah.
to do it or whatever. So
So it had like it dabbled in a little bit in feminism,
it
of
did.
which I guess was a hot, yeah, I guess probably was a hot topic back then. But women, I just don't want to end up in the kitchen. I want to do something.
Like be a Playboy playmate.
Yeah, and then you see they introduced the Hick Smokies, and
Yeah.
the chasing tractor trailer, and he's speeding up, and he sort of beats them, and then he goes around the diner and hides, and then they drive past and then back up, and then they go around, and they're giving them a ticket, and then
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
you see them like twice or once there, and then for the rest of the time you just see their car doing stuff. Like any time the thieves are doing something or the gang is going to do something, and the cops, you see the cop car drive by, and then they'll also like try to act innocent. So, but as as they're giving the ticket to the trucker, a van pulls out, and that's when you meet the windbreaker gang, because they all, instead of having leather jackets, they have orange
Yeah,
windbreakers,
they have orange windbreakers.
which is
Yeah.
real tough. And they're the Widowmakers, I think, or something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right. There's like 4 or 5 of them. There's about 3 or 4 of them that you see more so than the other two or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. Apparently, it's a bigger gang, so and they just bring a guy in as they need it. But yeah, those four guys. So four, yeah, four guys. There's the three henchmen, and then the one guy, Enoch.
Who's the leader?
And he's always sitting down and not doing. And whenever you go up to the back, you have to knock on the door like it's his office or something.
And when
So
he's in the drive-in, he likes to watch the Ozzie
he,
and Harriet show.
I cannot say never on the TV.
Whatever, dude.
Morning Angel, the three girls, and the one girl is dating Enoch, but she's not happy, and she likes the redheaded hero guy, Orville, and Orville. But she's like, well, he'll never talk to me, and then Orville likes Chloe, that's her name, and he goes, oh, she'll never like me. And his younger brother keeps trying to get him laid, His younger
Well, his
brother,
other brothers, his other brothers like he goes, why are you constantly watching me? He's just like, I got nothing better to do.
yeah, and the younger brother is far more savvy about women and stuff than Orville.
And it's also there's an insinuation that the gang is going to be fighting another gang in the
Right.
drive-in at night because they hurt one of the members or whatever.
See a scene where this guy, he's all bandaged up, and well, we're going to get revenge for you. And so they give him a cigarette, and the guy starts coughing and goes, "What's the matter?" And he goes, "I don't smoke." So then they leave, and then he's sitting on a
On a
car.
bench.
And then after they leave, he falls. It falls down. It's like a Pratt falls.
And there's like this scene where like Orville goes to pick up his brother at school, and some hot crossing guard, like giving
She's
him the eye, and his brother's like, "Hey, yeah, I think she likes you," and he's like, "No, she doesn't. She's married." So you see, Orville's like a real straight laced, his brother's like, "What's your problem?" His brother's like it's like a street guy or something.
and I
It's
think
like,
Orville says, besides, she's old. She's like 23.
yeah, she's like 23. Yeah. Oh God! So then they go to the roller rink, and there's all sorts of shenanigans going on at the roller rink or whatever.
Yeah, they're all skating and doing. I don't know. They have some balloon war where you have to whoever they tie balloons onto their shoes, and if everybody goes out there and they're trying to pop each other's balloons, and
And that,
the last
yeah,
one with the balloon unpopped is the winner, which happens to be Orville.
and that's where you find out that there's three girls, Chloe and her
Yeah,
two goofy friends, and
yeah,
I think Chloe insinuates talks about how she's not really into that Enoch anymore, and she might like Orville
yeah,
and stuff. So and Enoch again is the gang leader of the kind of like a cheesy gang of kind of
right,
like goons, but they're as you find out later on, they're kind of trying to do some bad stuff. So.
yeah,
And then outside, while they're in the roller rink, the crooks are out there stealing people's hubcaps.
yeah. They're not very good crooks, and and through the process, you learn that the one guy learned how to do auto mechanic stuff
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
or Chicago or something like that. And then the other guy saying, well, why don't we just, not steal and go up to Chicago and, learn how to do automotive stuff and fix diesels. That was it. And the other guys, they were arguing back and forth because they don't have any money.
And then that's where you see the blonde guy and Ashley Cox, and he's got the ring and he's proposing to her, and she's kind of like hesitant to. She can't commit to it yet or whatever. It's while they're roller skating in the roller rink or whatever. So he's all gung ho, and she's kind of like, well, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, well, when they're done, I think with the roller rink, Chloe asks for Orville to take her home,
Right.
and she like kind of like she kisses him, and she says, "Hey, I want you to meet me at the drive-in tonight."
Right.
So he's like, I thought he was gonna pick her up, but she's just gonna meet. She's gonna be with her friends.
Yeah, they went with the. I don't know if that's a thing, but
Me neither.
yeah. So
And then you see the gang, or Enoch's gang. They're out buying chains because I guess they're gonna fight with chains or something. I don't know, but
yeah, yeah. I don't know if we ever knew or discovered who the other gang was, the name of the other gang.
no.
And
But you see them though. You see
yeah,
them.
but it's only four, and you see them when they sneak into
Yeah.
um, the drive-in. And then it's also they portray the drive-in owner as kind of a sleazy guy himself,
And he's got some hot. I don't know if
assistant.
she was his wife or his girlfriend or his daughter, but she's got a hot assistant
Right.
who answers the phone. Oh yeah, like in the old days. Yeah, we got this movie, and don't forget the Alamo or something like that. Some goofy look. 'Cause it was the Alamo Drive-In, which is I guess now what they call that movie theater in Texas, the Alamo movie theater, where they show all the cool movies or whatever.
Probably it
Alamo
sounds
Draft House. Alamo Draft House. They have them up north where you're at. They call Alamo Draft House. They show like Tarantino movies and have beer and never heard of it? The Alamo
no,
Draft House?
sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah, it's kind of well known, but
Yeah.
anyway. So anyway, while the gang's biting their chains to get back in the car, Orville's like driving around, not paying attention. And as the gang gets into the car, or they open the door of the car, Orville just drives through the door and flings it and busts it,
Yeah, but
off. And the guys in the car, who is that? I think it's Orville, And I think they chase him for a little while, but they can't catch him or something like that.
right.
So the next scene is like everybody's going to the drive-in. You get Orville. You get some religious guys trying to get like
Some
some
free.
drive-in, some discount, and then it turns out that they're really like sneaking the guys in the
Yeah,
trunk.
he makes a. He asks to because he's a student, he should get a discount, and the owner says no. So he said something like, "Oh, you need to learn about Jesus or whatever."
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
Then you find out he's sneaking in
three other
three other.
seminary guys, from the.
Uh,
And you see a scene later on where some of them are actually drinking whiskey in the back of the. So. So anyway, then it cut. Now everybody's getting into the theater. Now you see a scene with the blonde guy and his girlfriend. She's got a wedding ring on, but she keeps messing around with it because she can tell she's not sure. But then she supposedly loses it. So it's like where'd it go? It's got to be in the car. We'll look around for it. So there's that little drama going on, and then you meet Bill McGee and his family, the black guy and his family, and he's like a doctor,
right.
but he's constantly like, "What's going on with these?" He's like real, like, "What's going on here?" He's very, I don't know, he's kind of goofy or whatever.
And
So
well, I said, "Oh, I'm in Texas. It's like a KKK
yeah,
gathering."
and then like one of a few times, one of many times, you see the gang looking for Orville because they want to get him. They don't know about that glowy girl yet. They just want to get him
Right.
for busting the. And every time they try to like go after get his car, either the owner, hey, you guys stop that, or the cops come by. They're constantly thwarted as to. I think they want. Well, at one point, I think they wanted to set his car on fire or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
You know. So
Yeah.
anyway,
They sort of like act goofy and stuff, and then they're trying to set a car on fire. I'm like,
yeah, they act like goofballs, but they're trying to do some evil stuff. So anyway, and then you see like they're also introduced to like a mom and son, and son's like an older guy, and mom's like, why don't you take me out and blah 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 and take me? Why do you have to go to a drive-in? And why do you always like? Why
you're a
don't you
kid.
buy me like cigarettes?
Yeah. So then he gives her a joint,
Yeah,
and then every once in a while it goes back to like him giving the mom a joint, and she's like puffing it up and um, you know
yeah,
uh,
yeah, yeah.
just smoking and I guess complaining less. I don't know.
And then at that point, then around there, the movie starts. Disaster '76, I think it was called. And that's the first scene is where like the guy on a plane is like, setting up a bomb, but they don't know it. And the woman and the steward say, "Hey, come on, John, let's go in the back. We're gonna have some drinks." And he's like, "Yeah, hold on, I'm busy right now." And you got that going on there. You got a lot of stuff going on there at this
Yeah.
point. And you got the gang at the drive-in. They see Orville. They start hassling him, but he finds Glowy, and then they go back to his car. Of course, I think his brother is like on a swing or something like that, or he's like he's
Because
running around.
he's hoping to get lucky. He thinks. He seems ambivalent sometimes that whether he wants to make out or not.
And
So
then while he's going to get Glowy, that's when the gang tries to get his car again, and the manager stops them. From like I don't know if they're opening up the gas tank or gonna set it on fire. I don't remember, but
yeah,
you know. And then the two robbers show up at the drive, and the goofy robbers, and they're like, the one guy's got the gun and he doesn't know how to use it. I got the safety on and all that. They're like total.
he sticks it in his pants, and then the other guy looks at him like he's crazy, and he goes, "Ooh!" So then he like gently picks it up by the handle. Well, first he's saying, "Oh, I got the lock on. I got the," and the guy's like, "Wait, you got this? That gun doesn't have a lock." He goes, right there. He says, that's one of the screws that holds the handle on. He goes, oh. So then he's holding the gun up so everybody can see. And the other guy's like, put that away. So again, he shoved it into the front of his pants. The other guy at him like he's crazy. So he said, and then he looks at him and goes, oh. And he like gingerly puts it up, picks it up out and puts it on the seat next to him. And again, as they're driving, the gun swings and points towards him and he swings it back again. Oh. So
So
clearly he knows
then,
what he's doing.
so then the gang, his or Enoch's gangs goes to look for Orville again. He sees Chloe in the car with them, and they're like, "Oh man, she's in the car with them. What are we gonna do? Are we gonna tell Enoch? He might hurt us if we do." And they're like, "We gotta tell him because he's got to know." And I was like, "I don't want to tell him, blah blah." They're going through all that BS. And I think around the same time, Chloe's friends are in the car together, and they're bored. They go, "Hey, we're drinking like whiskey or scotch or
Yeah,
something."
soda.
And they're like, "Hey, Chloe's not here in this movie, whatever. Let's go and see what the football team's doing," or some crap like that. So they take off, and then and then Chloe and Orville have an argument because Chloe's coming on to him, and he's kind of being his like really like you know uh, conservative. "Oh, wait a minute, we can't do anything now. You're kind of pushy, aren't you?" She goes,
Yeah.
"No, I'm sensitive." All this. I think she even says, "Are you gay?" And stuff. So she gets pissed and she leaves because he's such a prude or whatever.
Yeah.
So let's see what else is going on here. So then I think Chloe's like walking around and the gang finds her and they take her to Enoch, and I think he starts beating her or whatever. He starts smacking her or something.
They're around and it's like, geez, Louise.
And then
Even
she tries to get away and she slams the door on Enoch, but then she
right,
goes back and she finds that her friends are gone.
right. Yeah, because they went to to try to get laid by the football team.
Yeah,
The football team was in training, and apparently, when you're in training, you don't have sex.
I guess not.
Okay,
And then
maybe.
once again the gang tries to blow up Orville's car and the cops come by and stop it. Or that's another running
Yeah,
storyline or whatever. And then it cuts back to the couple fighting about marriage, and then like the blonde guy, he goes, "Well, let me go to the snack bar and get something to eat." And that's when he's like, all of a sudden, this girl behind the snack bar with big, cucamongas goes, "Hey, you're Bobby or whatever. I remember you." And he's like, keeps staring at her boobs. He's like, "Yeah, that's right." you know? And then she's like, "Oh, I remember you from high school. I was like, I think you were a senior and I was like, a junior or whatever." And he's like, kind of like, "Oh, shoot, I got something else going on here." You know what I mean? Um, let's see what goes on after that. Yeah. And then at some point, the robbers see Orville's brother and they say, "Hey, we need a hostage."
well, he kept the brother kept peeking
Keep on
into.
looking at people screwing in a car,
Yeah,
right?
he wanted to learn. So how else am I going to learn? So then he looks into the one guy goes into the concession stand to get food and I guess case the joint out. And then the when he comes back, he sees the kid brother like peeking in the car. So he grabs him and puts him in, and they say, "Well, what are we going to do with him?" He says, "Well, you're a hostage." And the kid goes, "What's hostage?" He says, "That's a bulletproof vest that breathes." So they're like talking about the thing, and the kid's like, "You're not going to do that, are you?" So they
They give the kid like a hot dog or something.
yeah,
And
he goes, "I give a buddy a hot dog," and the one goes, "All right, open the small one." The kid takes like half the dog. He's like, "Oh, what are you doing? Oh man." So then
then the other gang shows up, which are even goonier than the original gang.
they sneak into the
They pull some stunt where it's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, sir, the car's
yeah,
the
won't
the
start. Can we
it won't
push it?
start. We'll
Push
push it." Yeah.
And then it does start and drives off, and it's like, oh, don't worry, we'll go in and we'll get your money from the guy, which they
So that's
don't.
their scam to get in or whatever, So because that's going to be the big fight there or whatever. I mean, they didn't even. I mean, that other gang didn't even look like. I mean, Orville had switchblade and chains. These guys just seemed like they had nothing. Whatever.
Well, I don't know if they were going in to meet the
Oh,
gang.
it wasn't a set. It wasn't a set fight between the two of them.
I think so. But I think the Widowmakers knew the
Knew
other
they were
gang.
going to be there and they were going to kick their
Yeah,
butts.
they were going to kick their butts, and they didn't know when they beat up the guy. They didn't know he was one of their gang because he wasn't wearing the orange windbreaker.
Oh, okay.
All
I missed
really
that part.
makers wear.
Yeah.
So after they sneak in and stuff, so
Then Orville's looking for his brother.
yeah, Orville is looking around for his brother, and in the meantime, Glowy's in the van with Enoch, and he's like, you know, slapping her around and threatening her. So
She
she,
tells him that she's with. He beats her and he goes, "Who are you with?" And she says, "Orville."
yeah. And then it's like, well, if she somehow gets away from him, but she has his knife, so she stabs his waterbed.
I think he kicked her out or something. And she said,
Yeah, and then she has his knife. She stabs his waterbed, and then slams the door shut.
"You see, like water, like gallons of
Yeah,
water just flying out."
one of the gang members comes back, and he looks in the side of the mirror, and he sees Enoch floating as if the whole van filled up with water. In the meantime, they have a broken door that keeps falling off.
Yeah, that was another running whatever
There
joke or whatever. The door,
was
and they keep.
rope on it, but the rope was just roped around the door and attached to nothing else.
Yeah, so every time he opens it, it just falls out or whatever. So that was the other running joke or whatever.
Yeah.
So at some point,
So yeah,
uh,
all looking for his brother, he finds Glowy, and he said, "What happened to him?" And she said, "Oh, Enoch
yeah,
messed."
yeah, yeah.
Then he goes to find Enoch. He says, don't. It's not important." He says, "Oh no, I'm gonna, you know, it's
I have
my."
to. I'm gonna kick his butt or whatever. She goes, "No, you can't. He'll hurt you. He'll tear you to pieces." He goes, "No." He goes, "No, he won't." So he's got like some righteous
Yeah,
anger, some
yeah,
righteous
indignation. So
indignation, but he's very like passive. He's weird. He's a weird character because he's kind of passive,
passive, yeah, passive
but
in some.
he's I guess he's got his oh god, whatever the word is. He's got his beliefs,
Yeah,
you know. So then the gangs start to fight,
yeah, they
but
meet each other and they're sort of going back and forth.
and then at the same time the robbers are going in to rob the snack bar with the kid.
Yeah, they bring the kid in, and then there's like the one guy, the owner, puts the lockbox of money in the ice cream freezer, and they're
And the
like,
black guy's in there. Black guy's in there
yeah,
too. The blonde guy is there with checking out the redhead, and he's there getting some food.
yeah,
And then the gangs are getting ready to fight, and the robbers come in with the kid. And at some point, when the robbers are the one guy, the goofy guy, keeps pointing it at the other guy. He goes, "Get the gun over,"
yeah,
you
and
know.
then the guy who was going to get married, he's kneeling there because they say, "Oh, everybody get down." He goes,
Yeah, yeah.
"Boys," and then he calls the guy
Like
because they're both,
Henry.
yeah, Henry. They're both wearing ski masks.
Yeah.
He calls his name, and then the one guy gets nervous, and then I think before that they have the guy take the money box out, and they have the black guy give it to the
Yeah.
kid.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Then the guy recognizes one of the criminals, and everybody's getting nervous, doesn't know what to do. So the kid turns out the light, and then the crooks run out the door, and
And you
they
hear a shot, you hear a
yeah,
gunshot,
hear a gunshot.
and the gangs freak out because they think they're
Well,
coming
he freak out. The crooks run out into the um,
into their car.
yeah, where they run out in amongst the gang members, and then everybody splits except the two gang heads.
And the
they,
gang guys decide, well, let's not fight now because
yeah.
there's gunfire going on and blah blah blah.
So then the thieves are running out. They go to leave. There's the guy who was smoking pot with his mother. Turns
Does
out
his
he's
mom tell him let's chase the thieves or
yeah.
whatever?
Apparently he's some kind of sheriff or something. I don't know. So
Okay.
they're going around, and then there's this goofy car chase. And at one point, the cars knock off the other door of the van of Enoch, and then they're going back and forth, and then the
And the kid's got the lock. It's got the money. He's got the.
don't know that yet. I
Yeah, you
mean,
don't
there's
know
a
that
scene
yet.
where
Yeah.
the two crooks are like, they're like driving around, and the sheriff, he crashes his car into the cop car, and then everybody's looking around, going, "What's going on?" and stuff.
And then in the meantime, all this chaos is going on. The blonde guy goes back to the car and breaks up with Ashley Cox, with his girlfriend, because he's already got a new chick maybe
Yeah,
in the
exactly.
future.
And so then you see the crooks. They discover that, like, oh, the kid's not with us, and we don't have the money either. So as they're driving to leave, the kid's there, and he's like trying to thumb
But
from.
but but before that, Enoch goes up and fights. Orville fights Enoch,
Yeah,
and they get into a fight.
right.
And Orville apparently is like a great fighter or whatever. He's constantly ducking and like giving them like leg splits and all that and
Apparently, he bought one of those self-defense courses.
jujitsu courses in the back of a Marvel comic book or whatever. So he's fighting Enoch and his gang guys are just watching it, and
Right.
he's beating Enoch, and then Enoch drops his knife, and while he's getting ready to while he's getting ready to get up again, Orville just goes, "Hey, here's
Yeah,
your knife right here," and he cracks it in half, and
yeah,
that was it. That's it.
yeah.
They back down, so
And yeah, the gang members, look on and discuss, and then
they leave him, you
yeah,
know.
leave Enoch where he is and get back in the van. And then
So yeah, go ahead.
the thieves pick up the little brother with the money thing, and then
Yeah, the kid's waiting at the front at the entrance exit.
and they're talking, and the kid's like, well, you guys need me to help think for you. And the one guy Henry goes, maybe we should just like not do this and just go up north to
Cincinnati or something.
yeah, something to learn how to fix diesel engines. And the other guy says, maybe you're right, but we have no money. And then the kid opens the money box, says, here you go. And he
And they don't
looks.
take it.
Yeah, he closes the lid and goes, I can't, I don't want to lead a kid down into a life of crime. And then
Then the kid goes back to the snack bar. They
the
give the
guy says, well, we'll sell the gun as money to drive. So they drive away, and the kid walks up. He returns the money,
and
and
the guy goes, "What do you want? Some snack or a free ticket or whatever?" And the kid's like, "No, I want money." And he
yeah,
hits the cash
opens the
register.
heck on man. So then after that sort of quiets down, you see the manager walking. All throughout, there's some kid with a water gun who keeps squirting people.
Yeah, and he's getting pissed
He
off.
squirts the uh, the manager again in the face, and the manager sort of punches out the window, grabs the kid, and then the father gets out and starts wailing on him and punches him. Which, I mean, it's undeserved because the father should have punched the kid out.
Yeah, or smacked him or whatever. So anyway, so as Orville and Glory are together, they leave and they see the brother
Right.
waiting at the uh,
The
at
end.
the exit, and you know, I guess Orville and Glowy decide to give
Give
their
it
budding romance a shot,
right. She's a
even
one.
though like Orville's like a prude and she's like ready for action.
But she's a one woman uh, girl, and she didn't even look at when she was with Enoch. She didn't look at anybody else, and
Well, she is. She was married to Dr. Oz for 40 years, so, or 30 years, so she was true to her words. So there you go.
then the movie ends,
And
and
they play that one song again about the drive-in,
yes.
about Randolph Scott, and
And what happened to Randolph Scott happened to the industry, something like that.
Yeah, we're talking 76 as they're talking about this, so.
Yeah, people today like Randolph who?
Yeah, westerns. Well, maybe the movies are westerns, but then you get that the movie didn't introduce any actors until the end.
Right,
It was just the director, all the
right.
production people, but at the end you get everybody gets their own little snapshot with their
Yeah,
names
yeah.
and
A scene from the movie and then their name underneath.
like we said a few of them did have careers, not real big. Orville had a pretty big career. You know,
Yeah,
one of the robber guys, he had a pretty decent career. A lot of them
I
had a
mean,
few movies here and there, but
it's funny.
nothing.
Yeah, like the Orville and Trey Wilson.
Trey Wilson had careers.
They were younger, but when you see them older, you're like, oh man, now I know I recognize that. Like the guy Trey Wilson, he was in a lot of, he played a lot of like military guys and judges and police. So when I looked him up on Google, I'm like, oh no, I remember seeing that guy. I mean, he did kind of look familiar, but he was younger.
And Orville, yeah, I remember seeing him in movies
Yeah,
and television, but he, like you said, he got older and he looks different
yeah.
now, or did look different, but
Orville, he was really thin and had the big
big
mop.
red, big mop of red hair or whatever.
Now it's all cut really short, and he's balding and he's heavy set.
I didn't see much credits for his young brother or anything like that.
That was, I think a lot of them either they were just like friends of people
Maybe they were
in the
good.
past. Yeah, they were fun, but or maybe they just did like regional theater and never did anything else.
Bill McGee, he did a few movies. He did
Yeah,
theater.
yeah.
He did. Chloe ended up making a few more things, and then she married Oz, and then that was it for her. And she does, you said, speaking engagements now, or motivational speaker, or you know, whatever. And the director, Rod Amateau. I've seen his name in tons of television back in the '70s, so he's a well-known guy. And there was another person on there called Jessup, and I believe that guy, Robert Jessup or something. I believe he worked on those Larry Buchanan Texas movies. He was a guy who worked in Texas, and he did a lot of low budget.
And I think
So,
the last names of one of Chloe's friends is Jessup. So I'm wondering if it's
oh, she's probably like a girlfriend, sister or wife or something.
yeah, something like that. So it's probably a lot of people who are around town and hey, they want to be in a movie and we'll shoot this and I guess for them it's probably more fun than anything else.
I mean, it's a low budget movie, but it doesn't look that bad. It doesn't look like one of these like Poverty Row things. Look at, I
Right.
don't know how much they spent, but they had professional directors and technicians and actors for the most part. So it looks like a Roger Corman movie
Yeah.
without the spice. Like we said earlier, Roger Corman would have added a nude scene or somebody showing their butt or something a little spicier than this. You
Yeah.
know, this is pretty tame, but I'm glad because it has it's a time capsule into like 50 years ago almost, and it's kind of like old America in a way.
Yeah, it has a certain innocence to it
Yeah.
that we don't seem to have anymore.
No, everything is like very cynical or, oh, yeah, I've seen that already or whatever. Back then, making fun of disaster movies was something maybe kind of new, maybe. I don't know. Now it's commonplace. Drive-ins are mostly gone. The cars are cool. You
Yeah.
know,
And I mean it still had sort of the authority figures are
yeah.
jerks, kids are cool, but it wasn't that heavy-handed about it. Not like in Hollywood Nights.
No,
You know.
Hollywood Nights was like only 4 years later, but you can see it's like
Oh,
TNA and jokes and dick jokes and
yeah, totally different.
it was like in 4 years it completely. I mean, it's not the same
Yeah.
writers, but the guy involved with Hollywood Nights, Floyd Mutual, used to do. He did Aloha Bobby and Rose. He used to do teen movies
Hmm.
in the earlier '70s, but by '80 the teen sex comedy had already
Right.
started. Porky's might
all,
have been,
all those
you know,
cheerleader car wash
yeah.
kind of
I
movies.
don't remember what year Porky's was, but I think it was before Hollywood Nights. So, that kind of opened up the floodgates for like teenagers gone awry or whatever, and this was kind of like inspired by American Graffiti, but so was Hollywood Nights. But Hollywood Nights just took it to
A different
a,
level.
a different level of
Porky was 82.
Okay, so Hollywood Nights was earlier, wasn't it? What year was Hollywood Nights? 81? I could have sworn it. Maybe it is. Maybe it's 83. I don't remember. I remember seeing ads for it in comic books.
1980.
So Hollywood Nights was before Porky's. Wow. Maybe
Yeah.
Hollywood Nights was kind of like one of the first teen sex comedies. I'm sure there was some before it, but
Yeah.
Porky's kind of like was the biggest one. It seemed like
Yeah.
Hollywood Nights did pretty good. I mean, everybody know. I think Hollywood Nights is pretty good because it played on early cable a lot.
Hmm.
And I remember I knew kids that were like, "Oh, Hollywood Nights, you've seen this? This is great." And I was like, "Really? I never saw it." I remember seeing the ads for it, but I never saw it. But
Right.
that's funny. But Hollywood Nights was a takeoff on American Graffiti. The end of an era, people going to Vietnam. Closing down the drive-in or whatever.
Yeah, because it literally was trying to talk about the end of an era and the loss of innocence and blah 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 blah.
This movie Drive-In wasn't involved in that. It was just what
No.
happened with these kids one night, which is kind of like Hollywood Nights. Hollywood Nights was kind of like one night, but it was an important night where things
Right.
were changing in the world. So this was just like, hey, shenanigans at a
Yeah.
drive. You
Yeah.
know,
Goofy, lighthearted. You know.
I like it. I mean, the only way you can get it is I saw it on Amazon, but I'm not going to pay $20. There's like a sell through DVD, which wasn't mass produced. It was like Warner Brothers or some other companies would make smaller runs of movies
Right.
and sell them through their websites. So there's some on Amazon, but I mean the quality of this movie is fine.
Yeah, it's good. It's good for if you come home and you want to watch something fun,
It's good. It's good to watch.
like the end of the week, and you don't want to think too hard. You just want to laugh and you
Yeah,
know.
this movie wasn't preachy or it
Right.
wasn't trying to be like important or make you think about it. It was just fun,
Yeah.
silly, kind of country, very country. The songs were all country. The land, the town was country.
Yeah.
So I liked it. I mean, I was surprised. I watched it one afternoon last week, and I was like, well, let's just watch it. And I didn't get bored. I didn't fall asleep. I usually fall asleep in a lot of movies, especially when I'm sitting in that chair over there. And it didn't put me to sleep because it was constantly like something was happening. It was like a character was introduced, something was going to happen. There was a fight, or there was some kind of drama or whatever. And
There was some padding in the beginning with all the stuff going on at the roller rink.
there was. Yeah,
But
you're right about that. Yeah, it definitely went on for about 15 minutes in the roller rink, where they
yeah,
could have cut like 5 minutes of it and it would have been fine. But
yeah,
because it really didn't, it did. Well, the thing about the roller rink scene was it did introduce the two marrieds, the two people that wanted to get married.
right.
They were introduced in there, and wasn't in the roller rink? Was that when they introduced Chloe and her friends, or was that earlier than that? I don't remember.
The,
I think
was
I
it?
think at the roller rink that's when they introduced Chloe, her friends, and
Yeah,
her
yeah,
getting tired of Enoch and
yeah,
her interest in Orville or whatever. So there were, but the whole balloon fight and stuff. And those some of the kids that were doing those tricks, like they were on skates and they were like going between these two. I was like, oh, that's pretty impressive. The way they like
yeah.
I mean, I couldn't do that. Their ankles must have been like made out of rubber or something like that. So
I don't know, like 4 foot apart, and they were able to spread their legs, and their ankles really bent almost like 90 degrees.
I know. It was like, and I didn't mind it because you know what? I never went. I think I went into a roller rink to. I could never skate. I tried to skate when I was a kid and I kept falling. And I was like, you know what? I'm tired of this.
Through
You know,
this,
screw this. Same with the skateboard. I kept falling. Screw this. A bike. Yeah, I took my falls on the bike, but within like a day, I figured it out, and from then on, it was cool. So I guess I could have like, tried to skate, but I just, whatever. I was clumsy. Plus, I was getting bigger, and most of these skating kids are small anyway. And enough of that. But anyway, yeah, you're right. They could have cut some of that. They could have cut some characters too, like the pothead son and the mom. That was just like whatever.
This, also the
They wanted to get some drug humor in there,
yeah, stuff with the security guard at the roller rink. You know,
Yeah, yeah, the jerky security guard he was busting on the brother for bringing a drink out or whatever, and then some other kid, went and knocked him down, poured some.
yeah, some of that stuff's like,
Yeah, yeah, you could have cut easily 5 or 10 minutes. It was an hour and 30 minutes. It could have been an hour and 25, an hour 20, but didn't mind it.
yeah,
Anyway, I guess we both liked this movie.
yeah, it's good. It's good. We both give it
Thumbs
a
up
thumbs up.
for some like 1970s. I don't know if I want to call it exploitation, because it really didn't exploit anything. It was just a time capsule. There wasn't any TNA or any big fighting or any car crash. There was the only car crash was when they knocked the guy's door out or whatever.
Yeah, that and also when the stoned sheriff ran into the cop car.
Yeah, that's right. That was the other car. That was a car crash. Yeah.
Yeah, so
So
pretty
anyway,
good.
that's Drive-In 1976. I know I promised TNA there wasn't any, but hey, still a cool movie. You can see it on YouTube. Check it out, or you can buy it on Amazon if you want, $20. But watch it on YouTube first and see if you really like it, and then if
Really
you
happy.
really like it, you can buy it on Amazon. Only five left, so according to their little only five left. I'm like, well, maybe if you make it $10, I'll do it, but
Yeah,
not 20.
I'm not sure. They probably only ordered 5.
There is another movie, but I don't remember it being as good. But I did watch it a while ago. It's in the same. It's a little randier. It's called Swap Meet, and it was set at a drive-in, which was a flea market. But I seem to remember that being a little sleazier, not much, but different kind of movie.
Yeah,
But it was definitely in the same
same
genre.
little meteor.
Drive-in exploitation. I don't know. I don't know if that's a genre. But anyway, we'll be back in a couple weeks, and I'm sure we'll have some more
Something.
craziness. But in the meantime, Roddy,
In the meantime, you should watch more B movies.